All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Creature Comforts Brewing Company, and they are out of Athens, Georgia, and this is their Bigger Dreams. So this is a hazy IPA that comes in at 6.8% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review, and this can is approximately 7 weeks old, and it also has a best by date of August 7th of 2024, and we're about 5 weeks away from that date, so we should be more than good to go. And I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Wes, for this beer, so big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Wes sent my way, and he sent me 9 beers, 8 of which were unique from the state of Georgia, and this is one of the 9, and this is actually the first one I'm reviewing from said box of beer. I'm pretty excited because last year Wes sent me a box of Georgia goodness, and it contained one Creature Comforts beer. It was their Cocoa Beauty, which was, I think it was coconut mocha milk porter, and it was pretty good. A couple things lacking a little bit in there, stopping me from loving the beer, but it was pretty damn solid. So now I get a chance to try a hazy beer from them, and I couldn't find much information on this one, like hops or anything. So yeah, I don't know. 6.8% hazy IPA Creature Comforts. Let's go. Give it a pour into the glass here and see what we got going on. So definitely has a hazy look to it. Yeah, looks really nice in the can, or in the glass. You can't see in the can, you dumb fuck. Anyway, that looks beautiful. We'll do a little bit of a swirl here, try to generate a nice head. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a hazy beer. Murky, turbid, has that, like, I'd say hazy, like orange, yellow color, or orange golden color. Has about a finger of a bright white, super creamy, infinitely creamy looking head. It looks beautiful. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, you really can't see through it a little bit at the bottom, but outside of that has that murky and turbid kind of look to it. I would say for a hazy IPA, plays the role. Let's get a nose. Ooh, that's really nice. Now this isn't super fresh, around 7 weeks old. I saw it on Tapped. I remember Wes checking this one in, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks old. It was like less than a month old, and I think he enjoyed this one. So I'm drinking a little bit older than him, so I'm curious to see what our difference is between us based on the fact this is like a month older than when he drank it. But the nose is beautiful. Like it's 6.8%, but I'm getting a little bit of like a bready, kind of crackery malt sensation. Then over top of that, there are waves of like citrus and stone fruit, like sweeter orange, ruby red grapefruit, maybe even like a little bit of like a lemon lime. And then I would say apricot, mango, maybe a touch of like a honeydew melon. There's a little bit of like a dank kind of earthy quality. Smells pretty good. It smells like here a prototypical like hazy IPA. Like here's a 6.5 to 7% hazy IPA, and you're like, yeah, it smells like it. Does it taste like it? We'll see. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Wes. It's nice. This is like, I hate to say it, but it's like a shelfy IPA, right? A shelfy hazy IPA. It looks the part, it smells the part, and the taste plays the part of kind of what you're looking for with a generic hazy. It's not over the top flavor-wise, but it's also not bad. Like it's just pretty damn solid. I like it. This is good. Body's like lower side of medium, approaching medium, 6.8%, maybe a bit thin. The mouthfeel is where you can, I feel like for a lot of the breweries that are kicking out beers like this, and we'll talk about the price point later, but like when you're paying a price point on this where it's like less than $2 a can, you can, I don't say they cut corners, but you can definitely tell the difference between like beers like this and then beers you're paying $4, $5, $6 a can. The mouthfeel is a bit of a letdown. Like the body being a little bit thin, I'm fine with that. Like I've had, even from top tier breweries, like beers that have been thin, around 7%. The mouthfeel though, it's like moderate to a touch over moderately carbonated, so it has a lot of carbonation, I think, for the style, even if you call it hazy IPA. It's smooth, but it doesn't really have a creaminess. I'm looking for a little bit of a softer kind of mouthfeel and a creaminess, and I don't think this really has that. The taste is nice though. Forefront, bready, crackery malt dives underneath the palate. After that, waves of that citrus. And I would say it's orange, it's ruby red grapefruit, but it's this like the juice of those two fruits, but also like the pithy rind kind of quality. So it has like the bittering sensation you would get really like tip of the tongue, first third of the palate from those citrus fruits. Halfway through the palate, over-ripened mango, touch of apricot, a bit of that honeydew melon. And then it finishes with this slightly dank, earthy kind of grassiness, I would say, more than anything. It's full on dry, very mild bitterness. So I think as far as like the style goes, the bitterness is probably right where it needs to be, like very mild bitterness, if any. It is definitely full on dry. And that's what I noticed with a lot of hazy IPAs. They're more dry than bitter, which kind of, for a hazy or a New England IPA, that's kind of where a lot of people like to lean towards. For me, I'd rather have it a little bit more bitter than dry, but I still want it balanced. I think this is balanced. This is not sweet in the least. Like, they could actually maybe use a little bit sweetness. There's a little bit of like seltzer water kind of feeling on the finish too. I definitely feel like it's a little bit overcarb for what I'm looking for out of the style. It's the flavor wise, I enjoy it. Like the citrus, the stone fruit, that earthy kind of slight dank, like grassiness is really cool. A couple things bother me with this one is that the mouthfeel is not where I think it needs to be for a hazy IPA. And I also think that the carbonation, well, that's part of the mouthfeel, the carbonation. The other one is the finish is like, again, with that carbonation, it's kind of giving me seltzery vibe. So I think, honestly, the biggest problem I have with this is the mouthfeel. But it's not detracting enough from the beer where I don't enjoy it. I have another can of this that Wes sent my way. Now, a little bit fresher. Would have this been better? Maybe that carbonation is there. I have no idea. But I'm basing it on what I'm drinking right now. And I think this is a good, enjoyable hazy IPA. But if that mouthfeel is better, this would get, I won't say substantially higher score, but it definitely get a higher score. 6.8%, you really can't tell. I would guess like 6.5 based on what I'm tasting. So it drinks a little bit lighter than what it is, which some people might enjoy. I would say this, Creature Comforts, their Cocoa Beauty, I enjoyed more than this one. I'm a coconut fiend, even though that kind of lack coconut, I think as a whole, that beer was just better than this one. But I think for a nice, solid, decent hazy IPA, you could do much worse. And when we talk about price point and availability, you'll see this kind of falls in the range where I would think the price point is. So Bigger Dreams from Creature Comforts. I'm going to give this a high 3.75. I'll go 3.8. That's the best I can do on this one. I think it's solid. I think it's pretty good for what it is. It's just that mouthfeel really does detract. If that mouthfeel was better, I would give it like a quarter. I would probably give this like a high 4s. I'd give it like 4.05, 4.1. It would definitely be knocked up quite a bit. I just think the mouthfeel is kind of lacking. Too carbonated, not enough of a smooth kind of creamy sensation, to be honest with you. And that's a shame because, there's not a lot of beers where I say the mouthfeel or the body kind of detracts from the beer, but this is definitely one of them. So you got to be honest. So I appreciate Wes sending my way, but, this is a beer where price point availability, I would buy it just for the price point availability alone. So Wes said this one was $20 a 12-pack. That's kind of in that realm of like here in the Western New York area, like Fiddlehead. You go to Wegmans, it's like $20 a 12-pack for a Fiddlehead's IPA. I'd rather have Fiddlehead's IPA over this, but this is very comparable to that. So, for less than $2 a can, I can't really get too upset. That's something I gave a 3.8 to. Now, if you bought a 6-pack of this and it was like 15 or $16, sure. But I'm sure a 6-pack of this is probably in that $11, $12 range. So, it's for what it is, I think it's fine. And this is kind of like, if I lived in Georgia and I did, I do the shelfie beer reviews, this would kind of be like a shelfie beer review, I feel. And availability, I have no idea what Creature Comforts. Check out their their website. I'm sure they have a beer finder. Here in the Western New York area, we definitely don't get Creature Comforts. We don't get really anything really from Georgia outside of like Sweetwater. And do they even count really anymore? Probably not. So yeah, huge thanks to Wes for this one though. Like I said, he sent a couple cans with it, or with the beer mail, and I'm happy I was able to try it, but I'm definitely disappointed based on that Cocoa Beauty and what I've heard about Creature Comforts in the past. They say on the side of the can, hazy, hoppy, sunny. The fuck does that mean, Creature Comforts? Sure. It says drink, crush, recycle. I'm not going to crush it, but I will recycle. Anyway, thanks to Wes. If anybody has had this beer or anything from Creature Comforts, post in the comment section. Is there something I should try from Creature Comforts? Do they have like year-round or like do they have flagship beers that I should try? I don't really have any hookups other than Wes, so maybe next time Wes sends out a beer mail, you can send me like their flagship beer or something. But I've tried now like a milk porter. I've tried a hazy IPA. I don't know what else they produce, but any suggestions, post in the comment section. So I'm gonna shut this one down. Huge thanks to Wes. Got a lot more beers to review from him, especially from Two Tides. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers.